Welcome everybody. John Sisson here with McFadden Sales, and today I want to talk to you about a somewhat unique, advanced internet broadcast radio show podcast type of setup. We're here with PreSonus mixers and audio interfaces today. The equipment we're using is a StudioLive 32SX for our main broadcast mix. We have a StudioLive 32SC for our offline site producer. We have AudioBox 96 25th anniversary black computer audio interfaces for all of our Zoom calls. I'm mixing on Aris E7 XT monitors for the mix position today. We've got an EarMix 16M set up for our executive producer, and we've got an SW5E AVB network switch to connect everything together. Pretty standard in the current state of the world today. We are mixing an event for live broadcast over the internet. All of our presenters, even our moderator, are coming in on individual Zoom calls, and we have no live talent in-house. So we have a program mix for broadcast, and we have a mix minus for every Zoom call. Now these are pretty standard things for a setup like this, but this one gets a little more interesting in that we want to have an offline site producer who's able to speak directly to each one of those Zoom calls without affecting our broadcast mix. So that's the reason we have a second console set up. It wouldn't be necessary to have both desks if we were just going to mix broadcast over the internet. So we want to have that going on, and I don't want to have to worry about it while I sit here. So we need another person operating another console. So think of something like the Howard Stern show, right? Broadcast is live, Howard's talking to a guest, and Robin or whoever is in the background, and they're screening calls, getting ready to bring them into the show. Well, whoever that person is needs to talk back and forth with those callers, and the broadcast can't be interrupted by that, right? So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to do here. So our offline producer needs to have two-way communication with each individual Zoom call. So we have a 32SC set up over there. I bring my analog inputs into this desk, and PreSonus does this beautifully actually. If we set up the AVB streams to go from one console to the other, I don't have to do anything else. Analog input 1 at my desk automatically becomes AVB input 1 on channel 1 at his desk if we set channel 1 to the network input. Okay, so over here at our site producer's console, we have, as I mentioned, 4 separate Zoom calls, each of them with their own separate audio interface coming into the main mix console first, and then AVB over to this desk as our first 4 inputs. Now this gives our site producer the ability to listen to each call one at a time from his desk by just pushing a solo button. He can hear what each of those callers is doing even when they are not live in the broadcast. Now he needs to be able to talk back to those folks, so we've set up his microphone to 4 channels right here, and each one of these channels feeds only the mix of the corresponding Zoom call. So now he unmutes this channel and he's talking directly to Zoom number 1. If he unmutes this channel, he's talking directly to Zoom number 2 on the same microphone without having to do any complicated moving around of fader layers or anything else. As we mentioned, he is inserting his microphone into the mix that's going to those, and those are being mixed at our main console. So if we go over one layer, these 4 channels have the 4 mixes from the main broadcast console coming in again over AVB, and then these channels feed those mixes. Those mixes are fed out of this console directly back into these audio interfaces and to each individual Zoom call. So as I mentioned before, we have an EarMix 16M here set up for our producer, and this gives her the ability to listen in directly to our moderator's Zoom call coming back to us, and she has her own microphone set up running through the main console. She can turn on a switch on her microphone and be speaking directly to his ears, again without affecting anything else in the mix. And she has the ability, even when he is not live in the broadcast, to listen to his microphone right here, so they can have that offline two-way communication even separate from our offline site producer at his console. She also then has the ability to listen into any of the individual mix minuses or just our program mix. So hopefully you can see how easy PreSonus makes a setup like this. If you have any questions about this setup in particular or about the PreSonus StudioLive ecosystem, please contact McFadden Sales through our website at mcfadden-sales.com or shoot us an email at info@mcfadden-sales.com.